It's Good Better Broker from UWM Live. In this episode, you'll hear from Allison Thenhaus, Mahb Rahman, Dakota Baisa, Jessica Benge, and Lamont Harris. It's the Megacast, back and better than ever from UWM Live 2026. Good Better Broker from UWM Live 2026. It's Justin White coming to you from the UWM Sports Complex. We are so excited that you are with us, and we're so excited to welcome in Allison Thenhaus. She is a senior mortgage loan originator from C2 Financial, and she is based in Denver. Allison, great to see you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Allison, what do you think of this atmosphere? We're just getting warmed up right now, but it's always a great time at the biggest broker event of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to this several times, and I think nothing matches it for networking, getting to know more people at UWM that are great partners that we work with every day.
So we were just talking off camera, and you've been with C2 now for 7 years. You are a Scotsman Guide, top originator. Things seem to be going really well for you, Allison. And one of the things that you're really focused on right now is being proactive in your efforts to work with more real estate agents. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think that my dedication to getting real estate agents works really well for us. I mean, otherwise you're going after one person at a time, one client that you might have 3 loans, 4 loans in their lifetime. I think you can really scale a lot faster by getting more real estate agents, because then you're getting most of their deals and you can kind of branch your web out where you can grow a lot faster with that business model.
And you're not just focused on agents in your market there in Colorado. You've been bouncing around a bit around the country. Tell me a little bit more about what you've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, we're licensed now in over 22 states. My husband's also licensed in another 7 states. So I think, especially in the market where a lot of people are complaining that they don't have enough business, we've kind of grown and scaled through that market by getting licensed in a lot of other states. There are some states that are super competitive and other states that are less competitive because they just don't have as good of loan originators that don't have the same level of service. So I think it's a lot easier in some of the other states that are less competitive to pick up a lot more business faster.
So when you have that captive audience of real estate agents, how are you spending your time with them?
Yeah, I think, we try to have the same business model that UWM does, that we grow by helping our agents grow to be better agents, to do things smarter so that we're constantly improving the client process. I mean, there's a lot of things that they don't understand because maybe their loan person or the bank before doesn't really tell them how their business works and how everybody can work together to make this process a lot more efficient. And by sharing some of that information, everybody can just utilize their time better and provide a better client experience overall.
Do you still find there are a lot of realtors out there who are unfamiliar with all of the advantages that come with the broker model?
Oh, I think a ton of realtors are. I mean, they're unfamiliar with that. I mean, we just closed an office in Tennessee of 27 agents. We found immediately coming in, they're unfamiliar with what FHA needs are. They're showing their clients houses that there's no way that an FHA loan would ever pass. So immediately we go in and use AI and make platforms for them, showing them what they can give their clients so that they can better utilize their time so that they can grow their business and we can grow with them.
All right, you brought it up, so I want to ask you more about that. How are you leveraging AI? Because that's going to be such a huge topic of conversation at this event. What are you doing with AI to help with those agents?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're fortunate. We got into one of the AI classes at UWM that really dives into it. I think is probably the best class that we've attended here. And they're right. If you don't start now, you're going to get left behind because that market is changing so fast and it is such a learning curve. So we've used it to make videos. We use ChatGPT constantly to make any sort of flyers, all our Facebook posts, all our LinkedIn posts. And we try to cater it to stuff we hear in our market or problems that clients have. I immediately put it in there, make a post. I mean, the efficiency of our workload basically blossoms all these things that you didn't have time to do before. Now you can leverage AI to do that. We're starting to use ADDI AI with Arrive so that when we pre-qualify someone, we know everything that the underwriter is going to ask for, so that as we're gathering documents, we can gather an even more complete file so that we can put them into UWM and get clear to close much easier, which then helps us basically sell, to that captivated audience. Because when you're doing a deal, there are 2 real estate agents. You might know one of them, but you might not know the other one on the other sell side. We use that as an opportunity that that they're like forced to work with us. I treat that as an interview. That's the easiest way to pick up another agent, is to show them what you're about.
So you're embracing AI. Yep. Another change for you since you and I last talked is that you are no longer a one-person shop.
Yeah.
Tell me how that came to be.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things. I mean, a lot of people talk about, how they structure their business, but we're talking to a lot of people that have entire teams. There's not a lot talked about. How do you bridge from what you can do just by yourself? How do you take that next step, which I think sometimes is the scariest step? I was fortunate enough that Alan Badian and Danny Morogi really helped give me advice, and I think the courage to take that step to hire someone, I think it's really important to hire the right person. You get what you pay for. I think it's essential in finding someone that augments maybe what I don't do as well, so that we can run the whole business more efficiently. So I found a great person and hired her. I knew I needed her, maybe didn't realize how much I needed her until she started working for me, just because I think sometimes you don't realize how in the weeds you are until you can kind of get out of that and kind of have the perspective of looking over it. And I realized that I was sitting on a lot higher client base than I realized. I was only spending 20% of my time selling. Now I can easily spend 80% because she's running all my operations. So we can be much more efficient. I think both of us were a little nervous to take the leap of faith. We had run the numbers over my last 5 years of business. If we increased it, what that would look like for both of us. But there's still some fear. Once we did it, within a week, we were like, why were we even scared? I mean, it's exceeded our expectations. I think we've increased already 400%, and she's just been with us for 3 months. So it's just going to keep improving as we get to know our systems better, of who works well doing what.
It's an amazing, example of investing in yourself. And I believe that's how you put it. And you talked about efficiency, or you mentioned the word being efficient. You refer to yourself as an efficiency junkie.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Allison?
I think to scale in the beginning, I wanted to be able to do the most loans I possibly could by myself to take advantage of that. I think that it's really important to improve your processes. If you've ever read the book, The Gap or the Gain, it talks about if you just improve your process 1% a month over a course of a year, you'll improve your processes by 12%. The more efficient that you are, the more money you're going to make, the more clients that you can serve. And I think it's really important to do that, especially as you scale, because to be able to scale, your limiting factor is how efficient your processes are. The better your processes are, I think all of us that are high performers are a little bit control freaks. We definitely want the experience for the client to be the same across all clients. You don't want anything to be lost in the shuffle as you scale and get more clients. And I think the more efficient you are, the easier it is when you hire someone to plug them into that process, have that same experience for the clients, and give up that control. So really you can go out and do what you do best, which is talk to people about loans. What I do best is that. It's not making sure that we're following up with our borrowers to get all the documents they need. I think you really need to be efficient with your time and spend it doing what you do best, and hire people to do everything else.
So based on how well that is going, I'm curious, when you think back on what it was like before, when you were by yourself, and in your own words, and you said this to me, you were drowning in your own pipeline.
Yeah.
How do you look at now versus then?
I wish I had done this years ago. That was probably the biggest mistake, is just having the courage to do it.
Well, you've done it. You're still killing it. And we are glad to have you on our side. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great time tonight. And we appreciate you. Allison Thenhaus with C2 Financial. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good Better Broker continues from UWM Live 2026 as we welcome in Mahb Rahman. He is a mortgage broker with Safetrust Mortgage based here in Metro Detroit. Mahb, great to have you with us.
It's always good to be here, Justin. Thank you.
Always great to bring you home. You were an account executive back in the day at UWM. Now you're here, 3+ years in at Safetrust. When you think about that journey and you think about this event, UWM Live, now in its 5th year, what comes to mind for you, Mahb?
Well, the first thing that I remember is I wore this same shirt my first UWM Live as a broker, and I remember coming in here bright-eyed, looking around, trying to find every piece of information that I could. And, if there's one thing that I believed in when I started in the broker channel is it doesn't always fit the norm. You know, everyone that's in the broker channel at one point or another, they didn't belong somewhere. And I feel like that's why a lot of people end up here, you know, and they end up in the wholesale channel is because you're really embracing that entrepreneurial mindset. You're able to run your business exactly how you want it to, day in and day out. And at the end of the day, you're benefiting the consumer every single day as well. I'm just grateful to be a part of all of this. I mean, it's insane to see how much it's grown, you know, over the years. And, you know, I'll always give credit to UWM for really opening my eyes into this business and making me really love the wholesale channel and mortgages in general.
Well, you and the team at Safetrust really capitalize on this event because I don't know how many years in a row you guys have been doing this. You can tell us, but you had this big event earlier today.
Yeah.
It basically a pre-event to UWM Live, and you bring in all these people and get all this brand awareness for your company. Tell me how that came to be and how it has evolved over the last couple of years.
You're 100% right. So it's evolved. It's definitely evolved. We started it 4 years ago. It was, I think that summer that I left UWM and I became a broker and I decided to go with Safetrust. And it kind of the opportunity or the event kind of came up on a whim. You know, we kind of thought of it and we were like, hey, why don't we host brokers and really try to get an understanding of how can we improve as a brokerage, because we always had a vision of where we wanted to be. And, you know, of course, we're very grateful for where we're at now, but it's not the end vision. But really, like, seeing that event evolve over the years has kind of been like how we've evolved as a brokerage as well. You know, we've been able to bring more people into our community. We've been able to get outside of our comfort zone. And really our community has grown so much over the years, and the event's only gotten bigger and bigger as well. So, today was a huge success. We had some great people from NFL, former Super Bowl winners to, you know, great mortgage, but real estate broker owners here in Metro Detroit. Jonathan Haddad from AIM came by, but it was so much information, so much value, and we're just happy to bring people, you know, into the community of Safetrust, because it's not meant for just our team, but it's meant for the entire community, you know, because that's how we've grown. We've grown from individuals at other brokers, from other realtors, from wherever. And we want to really give that information back to everybody else as well.
Yeah, it's great to see, and you guys are just putting in the work. I mean, I know, because you and I, you know, we talk that you guys work extremely hard, and you know, it's paying off. You were telling me that it was 160 plus units in Q1 this year. When you look at the recent success, Mahb, what has been key?
That's you know, in Q1 it was a really good quarter for us. I would say the biggest thing is just capitalizing on every opportunity that comes out. You know, like when you go, like you and I are big golfers, right? And one thing about being a big golfer is you're always going to look at apparel. Like, you're always, like, the PGA Championship is this weekend. Like, you're going to go on every brand and you're going to find all the PGA stuff, right? And in doing so, what's going to happen? As soon as you go on that website, they're going to be like, hey, Justin, give us your email. We'll give you 10% off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you give us your phone number, we'll give you 15% off. And, you know, promotions is, especially in the economy that we're in, with the way the 10-year treasury is moving, with the way inflation is moving, it's just, things are just getting more expensive, you know, and with that being so is buying a home. Like, things are getting expensive, you know, and people are really feeling like they're really, you know, strained out of the market, you know, and we don't want that to be the case. We want to be able to offer promotions. We want to be able to give people the payment relief, for example, with the temporary rate buy down, you know, and those things really, it moves the needle a lot farther than you would think. And I was one of those skeptics early on. I was one of the ones that was like, hey, you know, does a temporary rate buy down really make sense? And I'm sitting here asking Claude to do all this math for me and all this. And at the end of the day, I just pitched it to someone and I just said, hey, like, look, like, I don't have anything to gain or lose from this. I'm just letting you know that this is an option. And you would be so surprised how many people that would come back and say, hey, this is exactly what I've been looking for, you know? And I think a lot of the times we trip on our own feet, you know, while we're trying to deliver, you know, a solution to someone, some payment relief to someone, whatever it may be. So I would accredit the Q1 to us getting creative, to us really strategizing with our buyers to digging a little deeper, asking one more question, you know, and really finding the tangible net value of who we're talking to. And that's something that actually someone today mentioned at our event, Jessica Woodbeck. She said, you know, you really have to focus on who you're talking to, you know, because, you know, if you're a realtor, you're showing a home and the tiles look a certain way. To you might be like, hey, you know, that looks really ugly. But to someone else, that could be like, hey, that reminds me of my mom and how I grew up. You know, you never really know. So I think really taking it a little bit deeper, you know, asking one more question is really what can really separate one relationship from another, you know, and that's what's really helped us in Q1 and gain a lot of referrals and kind of keep that train moving.
It's awesome to hear. You know, you guys are turning over every single stone. And you know, another thing that you do in addition to the buy downs and the payment relief, which you were talking about, is you guys have this purchase playbook for your LOs. And, you know, look, it's here in Michigan, this is purchase season. We are right in the thick of it. How does that playbook set your LOs up for success?
That's a really good question. You know, I've been in this industry and I learned it through purchase business. You know, like that's where I started at Rocket Mortgage, or Quicken back in the day, however many times they want to rebrand or whatever. But at that time, you know, purchase was all I knew. And when I came to UWM, a lot of the seasons that I was through here was all refinance seasons. So one of the things that I would always tell my brokers, I said, hey, like, this may feel good right now, but if rates go up a little bit, you really have no backfall, and purchase business is that. So let's start focusing on it now, and we'll really build something that's sustainable for years, you know? And I look at purchase business as a loan officer's salary. You know, like if I'm a loan officer and I want to build, like if I want to make $100,000 a year, $120,000 a year, I would break it down to how many purchase relationships would I need, you know, and how many real estate or CPA, or how can I get closer to one more purchase contract every single week, you know? And a lot of that is built through just constant communication and how you communicate. So we do two plays that I would say have really differentiated us. One of them is no listing agent left behind. So every single offer in, we call the listing agent. We let them know, hey, here's what we've done to pre-approve the client. And a lot of the times we have to get really creative, you know, and appraisal waivers have been a huge, huge hit in terms of getting our clients an accepted offer. I'll give you an example. Like I had a buyer put an offer in on a home for $320,000 and there were 15 other offers. And I kept running AUS until I got an appraisal waiver because the client was putting 20% down. He got an appraisal waiver accepted all the way up to $345,000. So we were able to offer $345,000 with no appraisal contingency. And that's $25,000 over asking. So if that doesn't win the offer, you know, I don't know what will. And that really helped that buyer beat out multiple other offers. So, you know, keeping the listing agent informed and doing a lot of those things ahead of time really is, that proactiveness pays off in the long run. The second part to that is know before you offer. A lot of buyers get sticker shock as soon as they get an offer accepted. Their insurance comes in higher, the taxes come in higher. So we try to do all that work up front, so that way they're assured when they put that offer in.
Cool. Well, it's always great to catch up with you. You're always welcome here, as you know. I mean, you're here all the time. So keep up the great work, and we appreciate you joining us. Mahb Rahman with Safetrust Mortgage. Thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Justin, as always.
Back here on Good Better Broker at UWM Live 2026 as we welcome in Dakota Baisa. She is the broker owner of Powell Home Mortgage based in Indianapolis.
Sure.
Dakota, great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I said broker owner.
Yeah.
And this is a recent change because Dakota, you recently became a co-owner of your company. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
How does it feel?
It feels really great, honestly. I'm really excited for, you know, what I get to bring to the table now and the future of the company, you know, moving forward. Got a lot of big plans.
You were telling me that you and your other broker owner have the same North Star. How do you describe what that is?
David and I both really care about being integrity driven, and just really focusing on what's best for the client at all times. So, you know, just doing what's best, even, you know, when no one else is watching, you know. I like to talk about it kind of like as a love first approach. I know that sounds corny because we're in mortgages here, right? I mean, what does love got to do with it? But Really, I just want folks on the other side of the phone to know that I care about them. I want what's best for them. And David feels the exact same way. So, we just try to lead with integrity and love and do what's right and expect the business to follow after. And it always has. So
it's a great way to approach the business. And yes, you're evoking Tina Turner. So that is, I think, wonderful in itself. So thank you for that as we have the music playing behind us. You told me that you don't see yourself as a salesperson.
Correct.
So how do you see yourself, Dakota?
Yeah, it's so funny when I say that. Like, I've had people kind of be like, what do you, like, I know we're doing sales. I'm not naive to that. I understand that's what we do every single day. But I see myself more as someone who likes to connect with people and help them problem solve through through this really big financial decision, more than anything else. So, sales, I don't really, again, we do sales, but I don't think people like to be sold. So I'm never trying to actually sell someone. I'm not trying to ever pressure anyone, you know what I mean, to work with me or what. I give them, a client-centered approach to mortgages. I work with them. I interact with them. We run numbers. We're working together. It's a team, instead of me just trying to sell them and make it transactional. That's the transactional part of sales is really tough for me. I want it to be personal.
It's interesting because I have had more than a few conversations recently. I'm talking in the last month with people in this business who have said very similar things to you, that they don't consider themselves to be a salesperson. They rather are good at relationship building and connecting with people. And to me, that's an amazing message to share, especially with people who are new to the business, who may be a little bit nervous about the fact that they haven't sold loans before.
Sure.
You don't necessarily have to be great at sales. You just have to be great at connecting with people.
You just have to care, I think, about, like I said, the person on the other side of the phone. That's a human. They're not a number. They have important needs and wants in this, transaction. And we're, at the end of the day, I just feel like we're here to serve. We're not here to sell. We're here to serve.
So how do you describe the way you are setting yourself apart to your clients?
I have a few different things that I really try to focus on. Accessibility being, one of the primary things. You have to pick up your phone. As soon as someone goes under contract for a home, if you're ghosting them, they're going to be scared, so pick up your phone. They can call me, text. My clients all know they can call, text me, and that doesn't go away after the deal closes. I'm still there. I'm still with them. People hit me up all the time, talk about investing, or I've had people just call me about general financial stuff.
That's amazing.
And I want to continue to be that resource. I love that. Obviously, accessibility. I like to be creative with my loans. One of my favorite things to do is when someone, let's say a realtor brings a deal to me that fell apart with another lender. I'll take that loan and look at it from all different angles and find a way to make it happen. I think that's one of the cool things that sets me apart. And I've kind of gotten this reputation for being a problem solver. Most of the time, they're not hard. They come from retail. They got denied. But we get to be a hero, because we saved this deal for this family who thought they weren't going to actually end up getting the home. And then lastly, I think I really like to focus on making the experience really personal. So it's, no two files are the same. Obviously, we have our general loan programs, conventional, FHA, VA, but every profile is different. Every client has different needs. So I just really try to focus on having that conversation with my clients. What are your goals? What are your needs? Is down payment important? Is your monthly payment more important? And just tailoring it to them. Everyone, whether they're a first-time home buyer, they're an investor, or they're seasoned, they've done this several times, they just want a personalized experience. They want someone to tailor their loan to them. They want to feel special. They don't want to just feel like a number.
You were talking earlier about being accessible and your clients can basically get in touch with you whenever they need to.
Yeah.
That plays into the fact that you said some of your clients will come to you before their realtor.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge advantage. How have you gotten to that point besides being accessible?
I think it just goes, it more speaks to the depth of the relationship that I try to develop with all of my clients. I really, again, I lead with love, and I think they feel that. I think people really feel when you're there for them or you're there for yourself. And my clients recognize that they could trust me, they can count on me, and they remember that. People remember how you make them feel. We all know that. So if you make them feel good, you're you're a resource for them, you're a wealth of knowledge, and you provide the best experience for them, I think they'll come back to that. I've been invited to weddings, birthdays, baby showers. So at the end of almost all of my deals, I want them to feel like we're friends.
Yeah.
And we are. I don't even meet these people in person, until we get to the closing table and we're celebrating together. But we're friends before we meet each other. So, and I love that. And they remember that.
Yeah, that's a true testament to that connection and that personalization that you were talking about.
Yeah.
We've covered the client end of it. What about your realtors? What matters most to them?
Realtors love speed. And almost as importantly, maybe more importantly, just certainty. So they want to know that the loan is going to close. Both realtors on each side of the transaction want that. And so I'm really good about giving that to both of them, not just my partners, but the realtor on the other side of the deal as well. But realtors love speed, and speed wins in this business. It solves a lot of problems too. If you can, process a file quickly, you can get ahead of any problems. You can solve those problems before you're up against a closing deadline. My realtor partners know that they can call me and say, "Hey, Dakota, can you close this loan in 14 days?" I can look at the file and I know I can get it done, and they have, confidence in me just, from years of trust and experience working together. I also have the benefit of knowing that I've got UWM in my back pocket, who can close a loan faster than anyone. I can go from submission to CTC in days with UWM. And so I have the confidence with UWM, and I can pass that confidence on to my realtor partners as well, which is the most important thing. That's what they look for, though, with me, is the speed and certainty. If I say I'm going to get it done, I know how to get it done.
We love to hear that.
Yeah.
One of the many hats you are wearing as a broker owner now is focusing on figuring out different ways that AI can help your business.
Yeah.
Where are you at with those efforts?
We're still we're scratching the surface of it. Full transparency. Right now we're using it just to increase efficiency, increase and, better communication. But I've got a lot of dreams for AI and how we're going to start implementing this in our business. Again, we're kind of surface level. But I'm up, every morning I'm working out 4:30, and then I spend my time kind of in whatever studies I want to do before my workday even gets started. And right now I'm hyper fixated on AI because I know that this is going to help us make the experience better for all of our clients. The user facing platform is going to get even better. Client education is going to get better. Answers are going to come quicker. Those kind of things are really going to be accelerated with AI. It's the wave of the future. It's inevitable. So we might as well embrace it. And I'm really looking forward to spearheading it in our market. I don't think a lot of folks in our market are really tapping into it yet. I've got some things in the works.
All right.
I'm on it. Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're an early riser. What's the preferred early morning workout for you?
So right now I'm training for an endurance challenge in July. I'm doing 29:029, which is Jesse Itzler's challenge. So it's the equivalent of Mount Everest in 36 hours.
Okay.
I've done it before. I did it in 2022 in Vermont. It was brutal. But so right now I am on a treadmill. I've got my ruck, or I am like full incline, or I'm doing Stairmaster, or I'm out there running. And, we've got days where I work the lower body quite a bit too. But yeah, right now it's all about the endurance.
Getting that incline on the tread. I was going to say, I'm not super familiar with Indy, but I'm pretty sure there's not a ton of mountains around there to climb.
No, I had to. So I didn't do almost any incline the first time I did it, but I bought a special treadmill this time that has it is full tilt. It's painful.
Dig it.
I love it.
Before I let you go, this is the biggest broker event of the year. So I would be remiss if I did not ask you what it feels like to represent the broker channel, especially given the fact that you were telling me when you first got into the business, you found a lot of stigmas about some things that happened in retail that weren't so good for consumers.
Yeah.
So now being in the business for a bit and representing the brokers, how does that make you feel?
I'm really proud because I think some of those stigmas are still true about LOs in the retail side. Consumers feel pressured. There's high pressure sales tactics. The broker community has a lot to be proud of in the last, several years, decades. because we actually have the tools necessary to give folks what they need when they purchase a home. We have flexibility. We can be transparent about our process. We actually have, all of the programs that any client would actually need, and we don't have to pressure people into it. We can just give them a great loan product. I'm really proud to be a broker. We never talked about this, before, but, I recently had a big retail lender come at me. Multiple six figures, several times over. They wanted to bring me in to, their company. And it was just really easy to turn down because I just don't believe in it. I think, I really want to do what's best by people. And I know that it's not retail. So.
Well said. We're glad to have you on our side. Thanks very much for being here. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy the event. Dakota Baisa with Powell Home Mortgage. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate it.
Back here at UWM Live as Good Better Broker rolls on. We are pleased to be joined by Jessica Benge. She is the president and a mortgage loan originator with Benge Mortgage, and she is from Cincinnati. Jessica, great to have you here.
Likewise, I'm excited and honored.
What do you think about this atmosphere we have at UWM Live?
It's super exciting. It's like I brought team members with me, and they're just like in shock. They're like, whoa, I tried to prepare them, but they weren't prepared.
Yeah, it's the broker event of the year, and we always like to impress everybody, so I'm glad to hear that the first-timers are enjoying themselves. So, Jessica, after years in retail, you went broker back in 2022. Tell me why you decided to make that switch.
Well, I felt like I was more knowledgeable than the underwriters. And so I was like, if I can get these files through, research the guidelines, and show an underwriter how to put things together, why am I so nervous to go on my own? That and just layers and layers of management and, men and people that I had to always ask for things and always, get approval. I just got tired of that.
So those layers that you saw in retail, another aspect to that is that you saw how that gets passed on to the consumer.
Yeah.
Looking back on that versus how your business model works now, what comes to mind?
So, I was able to take what I do there and do it here, but you're exactly right. Like the competitive rates, the lower fees that I'm able to, pass on. Like I beat my old company all the time. And I know this because my past clients will call me, right? They'll call and, oh, I had no idea. I did the right thing by not calling them when I left, but they reached out. So yes, that's how I figured it out. And it's been awesome.
You are a self-described financial nerd.
Yes.
How does that make you a good fit for what you do for a living?
Right. Well, sometimes my clients will come or a client will come and they will say, well, I'm looking at this from this other lender, and I will say to them, listen, there's a better deal to be had. I want you to have it. So when you get your documentation, just send it to me and I'll help you decipher through it, because these documents are hard for people to look at. Sometimes they're only looking at the rate, right? So that, and I often get rescue deals from people, right? So my partners know that I know in the mortgage industry, there's always an exception to the rule, right? I think it's like being a lawyer. If you know where to find it, inside, you just do the research. And that's just kind of what I'm known for with my partners.
So your company has your name in it. So obviously this is not just business, it's personal. How do you describe to people your company mantra?
Well, we like to deliver a wow customer service, closing on time every time. And they're not a transaction to me, right? So this is a relationship. So I try to stay in touch with all my clients and reach out, get to know them personally. So that's how.
And you mentioned that you have a couple of your team members here. Tell me about that dynamic and, having people to support you, but you also being involved in as many aspects of the business as you can.
Yes. I am very hands-on to the point of I shouldn't be as involved, right? And when I came to the broker side and specifically started doing business with UWM, I've learned from them on how to like compartmentalize all these things, and I try to copy that. So yes, I have team members that I've tried and did experiments over the years with little things that maybe didn't work out, but I really am trying to emulate the model that they have here in my own business. So, like I have this person that's kind of a setup person. I have this person that handles conditions and underwriting submissions. And now I've just recently added an executive assistant to kind of help me manage like the hundreds of emails I get on a daily basis. So, yeah.
Are you the kind of person that it drives you crazy if you've got tons of unread emails in your inbox?
Yes, but for some reason, my personal is just out of control. So, but yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah.
So you don't do leads, but one thing you are big on is your realtor relationships. What are you doing to stand out to your agents?
So one of the things that I have noticed a big return on is doing some video. So about 3 years ago, I pitched to one of my preferred partners to, hey, why don't we start doing like a podcast style, like you
like
are
this.
doing. Exactly. Except we don't have the fancy equipment yet. And it took a minute to convince him, and he got on the bandwagon. We started to be consistent about it. Every other week we do a little video. I mean, it's like an 8-minute video, but we end up chatting for about 40 minutes because that's how much my free Zoom allows. That's right. I don't pay for it yet. But, so not only is he seeing a large return in his business, but our relationship has gotten really strong, right? So I convinced him and encouraged him, like, hey, you don't need to just do these videos with me. You need to do more videos, like go out to the community. And he was like, are you going to come with me? Like, you can do this. Yeah. So it's been great.
This concept that you have is the number one suggestion that I give clients when they ask me about what they should do for video content. Find a real estate agent who you are friends with, and then record an interview with them. Record a conversation with them.
Yeah.
It's fun, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves?
Exactly. It's perfect. So tell me about the impact on your business. Like doing these videos now, how do you think it is translated to loans coming through the door?
So, like, definitely it has, it gives people trust, because I think people are looking up these videos. And I've actually gotten people reach out about, like, when I do a specific video, because we've really gotten into, like, niche-y type videos, like, really niche-y. And people will reach out occasionally, mainly for my agent. He says, they're just saying, where do I sign, right? He says he definitely notices a difference, right? There's no, like, shopping him. He's not the last guy coming in after the listing appointment. So that's how. I mean, it's been great.
And for people that are maybe nervous about getting in front of the camera, they should know, Jessica, and you told me this, that you do it even though you would prefer not to be in front of the camera.
Right. I am not the most secure with the way I look. I still want to lose 12 pounds. I mean, since I've been doing videos, I've been trying to lose a little bit more weight. But, I want to lose 12 more pounds. I don't like it, but it's just the consistency in doing it. And I can't say that it just really has been great.
It's easier said than done. In a judgmental world, you have to have thick skin. You honestly, what you have to do is not care what the naysayers might think. You just have to do it. So I applaud you for that. And I think that it's a great message to get out there to others, because there's so much opportunity with video, especially on social media. And the best part of all, Jessica, it's free. It's free. And you were telling me, and I think this is a great point too, and I want you to get into this a little bit. It makes you a human being. You're not just somebody who can crunch numbers. We know that you're good with numbers. How does it make you human, you think, to your clients who see you on social media?
So, I mean, Matt says this, UWM says this, that we are the least sexy part about buying a house, right? We are so boring. Like, I need another document. I gave you that. And, they didn't, but, like, they hate us. Nobody likes us. So, this does make them see me as a human and not just a person asking for more documents. That's an unenjoyable part about doing this, right? Like we're just, it's me again, sort of thing. So I do like to be more of a human, and the closings feel better too. People are so, like, grateful to see me. It's a definite difference. And I think it's the video. I mean, I don't have tangible proof. It's in my gut, sort of thing. Does that make sense?
It does. And it also speaks to the fact that not every piece of video content you record has to be strictly about mortgages.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when you and David record, you probably are talking about stuff that has nothing to do with your business.
That's right. That's right. We talk about deals, things that happen in deals. We talk about, like, we did a video once about grass, you know.
Grass.
Why is grass important in your neighborhood? Like, why are your neighbors looking at you mean if your grass looks weird? You know, we just do little niche videos, so.
Do you have any tips for people? It is spring here in Michigan. I know that, you know, you guys have a little bit of a head start on us down in Cincinnati. Do you have any tips on how to get a really great looking lawn this season?
Oh, yeah. So, well, my husband is really the grass guy.
Oh,
you know, I would have to give him some credit, but he's like passionate about, you know, a blend and went to buy it, like Kentucky Blue. And so when we were telling our neighbors about it and, you know, he told the cost, they were like, oh, no. But, you know, you do have to treat, and, you know, you have to treat your grass to keep the weeds away.
Yes.
But no, he's
Okay.
the guy. I just know that, you know, there's some people in the neighborhood that maybe don't have the best looking lawns.
Yeah.
And you know, they're getting side-eyed at the community pool. And I do tell them, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, they'll come to me and I'll be honest with them. So
Listen, keep your grass cut. Have a company come if you can't do the weed treatment yourself.
yeah.
By the way, I was asking for myself. I wasn't asking for the audience because I have a couple spots in my backyard, Jessica, that I'm really struggling with. It's been a couple of years now, and I still can't get grass to grow.
Oh,
so
wow.
do me a favor, have your husband get in touch with me. Okay?
He'd love it.
Okay. Thanks so much for being here. It was great to talk about all things landscaping and mortgage with you. Jessica Benge from Benge Mortgage.
Thank you. Thanks
Enjoy
for having me.
UWM Live.
Thank you.
Back here on Good Better Broker at UWM Live as we welcome in Lamont Harris. He is the CEO of Harris Capital Mortgage based in Las Vegas. Lamont, great to have you at Good Better Broker at UWM Live.
Thank you, Justin. Pleasure to be here.
What do you think of this atmosphere? All of these mortgage brokers from around the country coming together tonight to celebrate the broker channel.
To be honest, I absolutely love it. This environment, this is one of my most exciting times of the year, right? UWM Live, it's always exciting to be at UWM, but to be here amongst all my peers, this is absolutely amazing.
So that's now, Lamont. I want to take you back. And the story of how you got into this business in the first place is a really good one. So tell us how it happened.
So interesting enough, right? So I've had this entrepreneurial spirit my entire life, right? And so for me, it was in college, out of college, in college, and trying to make up my mind in terms of like, hey, am I going to actually graduate from college, or am I going to be one of these guys that start in college, stopping? And so coincidentally enough, I was actually, I started a business, and in me starting that business as a street vendor, I'd met a guy years ago, and that guy happened to be one of my repeat customers. He would always come and see me, and I was just really fascinated with this guy because this guy just looked like he was doing really well for himself, right? And so I had to ask him one day, hey man, what is it that you actually do for a living? And he shared with me that he was actually a mortgage broker, and that was the first time I'd ever had any type of exposure to anyone in the industry, and that was back in 2005.
It seems like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean, an interaction like that, you're just looking at this guy, and it seems to you like he's successful, and you, out of sheer curiosity, ask him what he does, and the rest is history.
That's it.
It's amazing, man. That's super cool. So, you're a former retail LO.
Yes.
So, what has it been like for you, Lamont, being in the broker channel versus your previous experience in retail?
So I think what it's been like the most, it's been me actually having to rely on me, right? That's what it really was in the beginning, right? I think now having partners like UWM, what I've learned, right, that's really, really different in wholesale versus retail is the support is completely different. And I'd say that UWM does an amazing job at supporting the broker community. They've done an amazing job as a partner with me. My relationship with them now going on year 6, and it's been absolutely amazing.
You've got big plans, Lamont. You have a goal to be in 40 states by the end of Q2.
That's it.
How are you doing it?
So for us, scaling is one of those things that I had to put on the back burner I will say this to you, Justin. 2022, I had this huge initiative to grow. And I, if I'm being honest with you and with our audience, I grew too fast. I grew too fast. I had to take an honest step back and take a realistic look at what all this was going to look like for me long term in order to have sustainability. And so what I've learned through all that, infrastructure and operations was as important, but to be honest, it really was more important. And so we've actually taken a huge opportunity to sit back over the last 16 to 18 months, really build out a solid infrastructure, a solid foundation for us to be able to have sustainability long term. And so now we're ready to go grab those states and then go get aggressive out here recruiting.
I think it's such a great point, Lamont, because that takes so much discipline, right? In a business where obviously everybody works on commission, you have the wherewithal to take that step back and say, I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit.
For sure.
That has got to be a lot easier said than done.
It is a lot easier said than done. It's also really humbling, right? So I had to really eat a huge chunk of humble pie, and I had to admit when I'd bitten too much off, and I had to actually go back and look in the mirror. And so, but I'm thankful that we did that, because it's actually made us a lot better today.
So another cool thing about you and the way that you like to approach your business, you have this devotion, and I call it that because it really is, and people are going to know what I mean in just a moment when you start talking about it. A devotion to serve your community.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, Lamont?
So, I'm huge on servitude, right? I think, I don't even know if this is a word, right? But I think servitude begats gratitude, right? And I think gratitude actually creates opportunity. And I think a lot of times, we go through life trying to figure out what we can get out of a situation versus what we can give. And so I've actually, through all the humility, through all the growth, through all the pains, through all the gains in those pains, I've learned that it's actually better to give. And so, how do I give? I give best with my time. And so who better to serve than my community?
And you are heavily involved with local charities and nonprofits.
Absolutely.
Tell me about some of those efforts.
So biggest efforts is US Vets, right? So obviously US Vets is an organization that is devoted to helping homeless vets. I'm devoted to assisting those homeless veterans, but I'm also devoted to the veteran community as a whole, right? I think, my love and passion for veterans is actually stemmed from family, right? My dad served in the Navy as an airplane mechanic. My stepfather rather, served in the U.S. Army, and he was Special Forces. Both those guys served in Vietnam. And, the military family as a whole is one that is an extended family for me that I feel forever indebted to, right? And so for that very reason, I'm like all about the veteran community and trying to do what I can to create impact.
It's amazing. And that VA benefit, I talk to so many clients, and there are so many veterans out there that don't know about that VA benefit. I mean, when you think about what our veterans give for us, 100%. For all of us, that's the least we can do for them.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Justin. I totally agree with you. And I think we as originators, we need to do a better job at educating ourselves so that we can educate them.
Let's talk a bit about your real estate agent relationships, because you are big on helping them with their marketing.
For sure.
What are you doing for that?
Yeah, so one of the things that I actually focus on doing is I actually focus on creating niche opportunities for those that are actually in real estate. So, we talk about sustainability, right? I've had folks ask me, hey man, how have you been able to actually sustain yourself, right, for 2 decades in an industry that has these waves of up and downs, right? How do you actually do it? I think for me, one of the biggest ways that I've actually found success is early on in my career, growing up outside of Washington, D.C., I was really focused on the federal government employee, right? And so for a very long time, everything that I did was centered around a federal government employee and how to best serve their needs. I think with realtors, if realtors can identify affinity groups, if you will, that they're super passionate about. And some of those affinity groups, it may be something as basic as, hey, I'm super passionate about school teachers because my mom was a school teacher, right? If that's the group that you're most passionate about, create opportunities to be able to serve the needs of those school teachers in your respective county, in your respective city, in a 5-mile radius of where you live. And I think if you do that, you will find that, hey, I've just actually created for myself an out-of-the-box opportunity, right, to be able to serve an entire community of people.
There's always more purpose when there's passion behind it.
100%.
So I think that's very noble of you to look at it that way. So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I want to ask you as you move forward still, and again, you're still in growth mode.
Sure.
How are you approaching that long-term growth and sustainability that so many mortgage brokers out there are after?
I think one of the biggest things that I'm doing differently this time around is delegating, right? So delegating is easier said than done. I think step number one is making sure that you have the right support system or supporting cast rather around you to be able to help you sustain that growth long term. So, hey, just like building a successful business is important, building a successful team is equally important. So you really got to be careful about who's around and what they're bringing to the table. And I think right now I am at probably my strongest point in my entire career in terms of having that supporting cast around me. And that's what makes me so excited about where we're going next.
I can tell. I can just tell listening to you, and I can tell looking at you, the level of excitement you have for everything that's still ahead of you is super high. So
Absolutely.
It's great to hear, and we appreciate you taking some time for us, and enjoy the events.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Lamont
Thanks for
Harris,
having me.
yeah, with Harris Capital Mortgage. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you for watching Good Better Broker and helping us support independent mortgage brokers everywhere. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified about new videos, as well as your preferred podcast platform for a new episode every other Tuesday.